Hey all, Brie from the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I have got a gift for you this holiday season. If you love the No Guilt Mom podcast, and I mean love the No Guilt Mom podcast, then tell us about it. Leave us a review, and you can be entered to win a No Guilt Mom gift card. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and then simply go to noguiltmom.com/review to enter our giveaway for a free No Guilt Mom gift card, simply for telling us what you think about the podcast. It is amazing. But don't delay. Get right on this, as we're going to be giving away that No Guilt Mom gift card on December 21st. So get right on over and visit noguiltmom.com/review.
Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, Joanne Crone, joined here by my talented co-host, Brie Tucker.
Why, hello, everybody. How are you?
We're coming at the end of March of 2021, and oh my gosh, it's been a year.
It's been a long year.
Like, I say this a lot, but I'm really, really happy that we did not know it would be this long when we got into it. Like,
oh no, like I remember, like on my Facebook, the memories are popping up, and I remember sharing, it came up over the weekend. Oh, Arizona schools are closed until April. And I remember just thinking to myself, like when it first started, we're all like, okay, yeah, we can handle this, like 2 weeks hanging out. You know, it won't be bad. It's doable.
No, but I think like it did force us to be more creative during that time. Because if we knew that it was going to be such a long haul, even though like all the indicators pointed to a long haul, like if we look back at like, what was it, 1918, the epidemic that happened then, and they're like, yeah, it was like 2 years or so before people were totally back to normal. We were like, we're 100 years in the future, people. We could beat this. Yeah. Apparently not.
No. and I mean, there is so much that's happened over the last year. We had our episode earlier where we talked about how moms are not okay, the inequality that the pandemic has shown that we still have very prevalent in American society.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot going on, but at the same time, on a lighter side, there's a lot of cool things that happened over this past year.
There are a lot of cool things. There's a lot of growth still that happened. And so we wanted to make a list about 5 things that we've learned over the past year. And maybe, hopefully, you can share some of these things with us. But if you have something else that you learned that we don't talk about, email us. Hello at noguiltmom.com, because we want to share it. We want to share it on an episode, and we want to sing you and feature you, because this podcast is really all about what we can do for you. So email us, please. And if that doesn't seem like begging, I could be like down on my knees. Email us. I truly, truly want to hear from you.
So email us at hello@noguiltmom.com.
So dinner time always causes us so much stress. And if it causes you so much stress, and if you, like me, hate to meal plan, I mean, like hate it, like just sitting down and trying to figure out the meals for the week and then creating a grocery list for you makes you like break out into a nervous rash like it does me, I have something for you. It's called Eat at Home Meal Plans. We've been using it for the past 2 years. And what it is it's like already done for you meal plans. You can pick from 4 different ways of cooking and eating: traditional, slow cooker, Instapot, whole food, flour-free, sugar-free, and you can mix and match. We mixed and matched a lot too. But the recipes are delicious. They're super easy. Most don't take more than 15 minutes to prepare, and the grocery list is done for you. So go on over to Eat at Home Meal Plans. You can find it at noguiltmom.com/eat-at-home, and we have an extra 25% off for you when you use the discount code NoGuiltMom, all one word, at checkout. And now on with the show.
You want mom life to be easier. That's our goal too. Our mission is to raise more self-sufficient and independent kids, and we're going to have fun doing it. We're going to help you delegate and step back. Each episode will tackle strategies for positive discipline, making our kids more responsible and making our lives better in the process. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast.
Okay, 5 things we learned over the past year. Now, when we were making this list, we're like, what did we learn?
I know, right? Because I was like, oh, we should make a list of all these cool things that we learned. And then it was like, okay, well, first of all, there was a lot of things that I learned in many different accords. One big thing that I learned, I was dating somebody in the beginning of this whole pandemic. Yeah. And for anyone else who was dating, you had to make some serious decisions, man. Are we sticking through this? Or are we going to say, hey, see you later? It was kind of crazy going through that.
But man, you stuck through it. Hello, Miguel.
We doubled down, man. We were like, okay, we're going to do this. Going to move in. We're going to do this. Yeah. But yeah, looking through all the things that we learned, you and I were trying to make this list, and I was like, let's try to make it like close to parenting and or introspection of like the cool things that we got out of this.
Yeah, because we got to look at the positives too. It was interesting because I was on a call on Friday, and it was like a training session, this whole day training in business. And I was in this group where it was 3 of us. It's called the 6-Figure Club. So it was 3 6-Figure Club members, and then one person who was not in the 6-Figure Club. And all of us 6-Figure Club members, all we could do was we're like, it's such a struggle. It's so hard. And she called us on it. She's like, you could talk about the struggle, but sometimes it's really about reframing your perspective and focusing on the good things to give you the energy. And all of us were like, yes, it is.
Yes.
And so I took it to this, and I'm like, you know what? Yes, this year we could call it a struggle, but it gives us so much more energy if we can go back and look at the good things in it.
Right. And so
let's
get started on
Let's
this.
Do these good things.
So here are boom top 5 things that we have learned over this last year thanks to this amazingly painful pandemic.
Yes. So number 1, screen time doesn't matter.
Oh, I know, right? That has been such a big rock in everybody's shoe during all of this, right?
Yeah.
How much guilt did we hear from many, many, many different moms about the amount of screen time their kids were watching?
Yeah, many.
And then
so
us having
concerned.
our own guilt, I feel like we kind of went through at different levels and different spikes during the pandemic.
We did, because something that before, we always told parents is that, the quantity of screen time doesn't matter as much as the quality of the screen time. So it's not just sitting and watching screens that's the issue. It's what are we consuming on the screens, as well as is it productive or non-productive?
Right. And also just coming from an early childhood standpoint, the American Academy of Pediatrics with their recommendations on screen time, which under normal circumstances, it's tough to adhere to that standard. I'm just going to be honest. As a parent, it's tough to adhere to the whole no screen time under 2 type thing.
I didn't do it.
And going for
No, I'm just going to be real.
I had to nap sometimes. So yes, my kids loved Baby Einstein.
I started my company when my son was young, and the only thing I could do to get work time was turn on Peppa Pig.
Oh, I remember you talk about that. And then he started talking like Peppa Pig.
Yeah. But he was right there. I was beside him on the couch on my laptop, and he would watch Peppa Pig, and he loved Peppa Pig. Today, he's a thriving 2nd grader.
So again, the point being is that we put all of this pressure on ourselves to try to do everything perfect. And when it comes to screen time, I'm still going to say that even though I do believe, we've already said, that it's about the quality of it, not necessarily the quantity. There's a lot of things to learn about screen time. Screen time is new, parents. Do not beat yourself up so much over this. And when I say new, I just mean our generation is pretty much the first parenting generation that's had to deal with screen times to the effect that they are now. Because when we were little, the worst thing our parents really had to worry about was whether or not they were going to let us watch TV. Yeah. And we all know the answer. We all got to watch TV a lot.
I watched a lot of TV. Yeah, that was awesome.
Saturday mornings, right? Whew, I loved my Saturday morning cartoons.
But also, screen time could be a way to connect with people, too.
It is. So that's another thing. This pandemic, it was a lifesaver for so many kids.
Yes. And I bristle a little at so my son had a play date this past week, and when the mom dropped him off, they were talking about playing Mario Kart, and she's like, we try to limit screens in our house, so probably no Mario Kart. And I'm like, okay, I totally respect it. But inside, I'm a little bristling at just the reasoning behind it, because Mario Kart, it's not like they're just staring vacant at a screen and not talking to each other. They're interacting when they're playing a video game. And I think we sometimes miss that interaction because we see them staring at a screen and automatically think it's bad. But if they were playing the same game in a board game, it would be fine, even though it's the same thing.
Right. And again, everything is in moderation. Always keep that. I mean, I think that you can't go wrong with that rule of thumb in your back pocket. all the time, everything in moderation.
And also watching the kids.
Yes. Yeah. And so like I was going to say, like when it comes to screen time and the way that kids play and whatnot, again, this helps a lot of kids that can't be there in person. The screen time does allow them to have that connection and keep that social connection. But also, like you just were saying, like not all screens and games are created equal. Like when my son plays Minecraft, he goes to creative and he plays in creative and he builds these huge cities and he's so excited. Tell me about him when he's done. And he gets really excited when he can get on with a friend and then they can build together.
Yeah.
These amazing things that they do. And so to me, I'm like, okay, that's not that different. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's not that different than letting him play with his Legos.
It's really not that different at all. I mean, you don't get the like manipulation, the physical manipulation of the objects when you're playing Minecraft, but you actually kind of do. You work on your hand-eye coordination a little bit better because you have to match, like, just from a strictly educational perspective. Like, if we were going to break it down and really say, like, hey, like, this is what you get from playing a video game over actually playing Legos. But it is creative. And screens were given such a bad rap, and I think it's like way too much stress, especially on moms who we have the kids usually for the majority of the time.
Right.
And telling moms that they don't have something available to them because it's bad and will ruin your children, I think is just horrible.
Well, and again, it comes down to it doesn't have to be bad.
No.
Again, it's how you use it. So coming back to screen time, it doesn't matter, people. It really matter. Like we're giving you that pass, that no guilt mom pass. We're taking away the guilt of letting your kids have screen time because again, it's about how you do it and having the moderation.
Yeah.
All right.
Exactly.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. It is so hard to raise kids who know how to manage money. Brie, right now, my kids are all about earning money for presents. My daughter wants to get presents for all of her friends, and my son is doing a Secret Santa with his friends.
Oh, I hear you. And if you're looking to raise kids that are financially responsible, we have got a lifesaver recommendation for you that you need to check out. It is Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families that gives kids and teens an easy and fun way to gain financial literacy, all while giving parents peace of mind.
You can send instant money transfers, automate allowance, and even keep an eye on kids' spending with real-time notifications. Meanwhile, your kids can begin their journey towards financial autonomy by learning how to save, invest, and spend wisely.
So sign up for Greenlight today and get your first month free when you go to greenlight.com/NGM.
That's greenlight.com/NGM to try Greenlight for free. Greenlight.com/NGM. We're hitting that time of year where my brain gets so overloaded in December that I look for anything to make life easier. And I have to say, Brie, that Green Chef is one of those services.
Yes, Green Chef is there to take away the dreaded, oh my goodness, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? You can eat clean all holiday long with over 80 weekly meal options each week, featuring things like quick and easy, protein-packed, calorie-smart, or my personal favorite, the keto options.
And you don't have to lose track of healthy eating habits during the holidays because every Green Chef customer gets a free session with one of their registered dietitians who can walk you through how to make clean eating work for you, which is very cool.
And I have to say that I have been loving their recipes lately. They put things together I have never thought of. This week, we're trying the lemon basil caper pork with sauteed cauliflower, bell peppers, almonds, and feta cheese, my favorite. Their recipes make it so easy to support my wellness goals without skipping on flavor.
For Green Chef's best deal of the year, get $250 off with code NGM250 at greenchef.com/NGM250. That's greenchef.com/NGM250. And don't forget to use that code NGM250 to get $250 off.
Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well.
And that brings us to number 2.
Yes, number 2. More time together.
Can actually help them problem solve and help everybody learn to problem solve.
So this is really interesting. So what you're saying, Joanne, is that the more time your kids were together over the pandemic, the more you saw that they were able to figure out how to handle things on their own.
They were, and it wasn't easy. I'm not saying like this was a walk in the park.
There was no fighting.
There was a lot of fighting at the beginning, but we just got like so over it in the pandemic where it wasn't just little spurts of time that they were together. It wasn't like an hour or two and be like, oh, like I'll just separate them or whatever. It was, all day. And then me and my husband would be around it all day. So we would just reach our limit where we're like, okay, we're just closing ourselves in the office and we're going to crank up some music for us. And if they're yelling at each other, they need to figure it out. But like also my kids, they do have the problem solving skills that like we teach in the Sib Journal. Like my kids know these skills too, to mediate conflicts between each other.
Right.
So giving them that space to yell and to scream and to eventually work things out, like, oh my gosh, they get along better now than they ever have, ever.
So that's an interesting point. So I'm wondering, to all of our mamas out there in podcast land, if you really, really take a reflection back on the time with your kids together over this pandemic when they couldn't go anywhere, we were all cooped up at home, whatever space you had there, I'm going to assume your kids were fighting because most kids do. Let's just be honest. Like there is a quote from Lemony Snicket that's like, any siblings that say they're not fighting have something to hide.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to assume that they were fighting. But if you reflect back on it, do you feel like they are able to get through it once in a while a little better than before? Or do you feel like maybe they're still having a lot of fights, but they're shorter? Or maybe they're just finding better ways to kind of get through, again, that problem solving? And maybe they're just starting to appreciate others more. You know what?
Yeah.
Like they're appreciating their friends now. They're appreciating people outside their family.
Yeah, because here's something else. Like all of the activities were taken away. So they had nothing to do unless they started getting along well with each other. And I mean, I couldn't play with them, nor did I want to use my whole time playing with them. I wanted to like accomplish stuff of my own, and so did my husband. And so all they had was each other. And so they had to learn to work through it. And also it caused my daughter, who's older, to examine some of the things she had been doing in the relationship. Because before the pandemic, she would always blame her little brother for everything. And like, I think 2 months in, she's like, maybe I'm too hard on him. And I'm like, yeah, that could be. And so she really like changed her approach. I think that helped a lot.
That's awesome. If I'm reflecting back, one thing that I remember my kids doing over the pandemic, and we were a unique situation because I am divorced and we have 50-50 parenting, and the state of Arizona, you know, they stuck with no matter what, you're going to continue doing your parenting time. And I think actually that was a lifesaver because we did get a little bit of a break. And our kids, while they were around each other, no matter which house they were at, they at least got a change in scenery. But what I was trying to get at was they started making movies together. Yeah. It was really cute. They would like make some little short movies. And then my son got into doing, I don't know what it's called, but it's where you go on YouTube and you play a game and people watch you play a game.
Yeah. It's like Twitch.
Okay. Yeah. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just smile and nod my head and say, cool, bud. Yeah. But I don't get it.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's okay. He related it to my watching football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was like, well, Mom, do you sit and watch other people play a football game on TV? And I'm like, touche. You got me there. So
He did. He got you.
Yeah.
So the more together time, I think, really helps. And it's something that I noticed as a dynamic in our family anyways, because usually my kids got along much better when we were on vacation versus at home. And that does a lot, because when we go on vacation, we're not like activity schedulers on vacation. We're like, we're going to go into an Airbnb. We have like maybe an activity a day, and then the rest we're just going to leave free form. And so they have a lot of together time there too.
Yeah. And I think part of it too with my kids, and I just think that the kids kind of sort of just figured out where people's limits were or how to find their own space at the same time. Like I have to go to my room or I have to go do this to get some quiet time away from their siblings. So, or at least again, that's what we observed in our house, is that they kind of learned a little bit more about how to problem solve. My kids definitely don't fight as much now as they did before.
So number 3, this was mine in particular because Brie cannot relate.
We're at opposite ends of the spectrum on this one.
Opposite ends. But oh my gosh, I'm an introvert and I actually missed other people. Eventually, I did. Eventually, I did.
In the beginning, she's like, yes. And I'm like, crap.
I'm like, I get alone time. I don't have to socialize. This is awesome. But then it's like, as it wore on, like even my husband's a bigger introvert than I am. He's like, when we could, like when the restrictions started like becoming better and we have this nice backyard area, he's like, let's invite some people over outside. And I'm like, who are you and what have you done to my husband? But no, he sees it too. Like we actually miss other people.
Right. I remember in the very beginning of the pandemic, there was this little meme that going around on Facebook, and it was like introverts during the pandemic, and they're sitting there reading their books, and they're typing on the computer, and they're happy, and they're like extroverts during the pandemic, and they're running around in circles in the house, clawing at the windows. I'm like, yeah, that was me. I was like, anything to socialize. I cannot stand being home by myself and not seeing other people and not getting to talk to others. That's like way, way too much for me. But it's interesting to hear you say that you miss people, because you were always a really busy person.
Yeah.
Like every weekend you guys were doing something, going somewhere. You were flying places all the time. And then now, like, you just recently got to take a trip.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I really enjoy my alone time. It's my time to recharge. And I think before the pandemic, I did not put as much priority on that alone time. So while I was going from place to place and thing to thing, it's like I didn't have a chance to think about it. But then I would like collapse and I would just be like, no one talk to me, But I miss other people, and I miss socializing with like people I don't know. And usually
And that's a lot for you.
I'm pretty good like at coffee shops for really short periods of time, but like conferences where I have to like go from person to person to person and meet a lot of people, they drain me. And I'm actually like, I want to do that again.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for the world to kind of come back to normal. I will say though, I am missing a little bit of my alone time.
Yeah.
Everybody is at my house all the time now.
Oh yeah. I couldn't stand it at your house, honestly. It would be a total blow up.
Everyone is always at my house all the time now, and it drives me bonkers.
I bet. Oh my gosh, when like so the kids went over to Nana's this past week, and Josh hadn't come home yet, and I'm like, I'm gonna put on my blanket. I'm gonna watch some Schitt's Creek on TV. Oh, it's so nice.
It's so lovely.
It's so lovely. Yeah. So alone time is it's really good.
Yeah.
Brings us to number 4.
Number 4 is that it gets so much easier when you get help.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Raise your hand if you try to do everything yourself, or if you think you're expected to do everything yourself. Because I thought I took on so much of the household responsibilities before the pandemic.
So, when the pandemic first started too, I remember like making lunch for everybody every day.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Trying to make sure that we all had some breakfast, and then cooking dinner every night for everybody, because like all of my normal hacks you couldn't really do. Well, I mean, yeah, no, because in the very beginning, like even getting takeout was kind of complicated, and going to the grocery store was a lot. So I just remember it just being really hard trying to get all that going and putting all that on my shoulders. And then after a little while, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah. My son is playing a game right now on his computer where he's a thief and the cops are after him. So I'm so excited about this new app, Give As We Grow, where instead of being the quote unquote bad guys, kids are practicing giving back.
That is so cool, Joanne. I really wish that there was something like this when my kids were younger that got them excited about giving back to others and helped them build a better understanding of what it really means to volunteer.
Give As We Grow is the first of its kind free educational mobile app for children ages 8 to 11 that teaches kids via fun, service-focused minigame quests to tap into their unique talents and interests to help others.
And did you know that studies show that there is a biological connection between generosity and happiness, and that volunteering improves people's physical and mental health? I mean, kids who volunteer typically do better in school and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors. And that is something that I think we all want for our kids.
Ready to spark a new movement in generosity? Find and download Give As We Grow for free in the App Store for Android and iOS. And for resources for the whole family, visit giveaswegrow.org.
Hey all, Brie here, and I wanted to share one of my favorite gifts to give during the holiday season, a Storyworth book. It is the most amazing gift ever. Storyworth is an online service that lets you create a special and unique gift of someone's story. I've given Storyworth books to both of my parents, and it has been their favorite gift, hands down. And did I mention it is so easy? Storyworth emailed my parents questions every week that I handpicked from their massive list of questions that they have. All my parents had to do was open their email and answer them. That easy. I asked my dad questions like, did you have any rules that you set for yourself as a parent, which you immediately broke? And he did. I even asked both of my parents, are you more like your mom or your dad? And they shared a lot of really amazing qualities that I didn't know about my grandparents at the time. Then at the end of the year, Storyworth compiles all of their answers, puts them into this gorgeous book that covers everything. My parents love showing us their books, and I personally love getting a chance to read them. With Storyworth, I am giving those I love a thoughtful and personal gift from the heart that preserves their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/NGM and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/NGM to save $10 on your first purchase.
And like, I didn't realize how much I was taking on until my husband got to work from home. And like, he was home with me working and I was still working, but there were two of us to help with the kids' needs. And oh my gosh, it is such a different ballgame when there are two adults here at home helping with like the kids. Because like, my kids aren't hard, but I mean, they need feeding and they need like
they need attention
and love.
And you do have two different age groups. Again, like, 'cause, like our households are different. My kids are just barely a year apart. Mm-hmm. And so and my youngest is your oldest. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm divorced, so I only have my kids half of the time. So like a lot of the things are different in our households. Like I see a lot with your youngest, like, oh yeah, he does still need tech help. He does need things like, I can't just tell them, you can't just say to him, oh, go figure it out. Like
he needs it. He needs it. But you know what? This was like huge for him, this pandemic too, because he has become so much more confident in his own abilities. I mean, when he had the play date here on Friday, like with a friend, I was going downstairs and I was getting ready to be like, oh yeah, let's make your pizza. Let's make sure everyone eats. Guys, the pizza was cooked and on the counter. Him and his second grade friend had put the pizza in the oven, cooked the pizza, removed the hot pizza from the oven, and put it on the counter. And when I'm like, oh, it's on the counter, and they're here calmly playing a game in the living room, and they're like, yeah, we're going to let it cool first. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I put myself in situations like way, way too much because they did it so well.
Yeah. And there's so many things that they got to learn during that time. So like by getting some extra help in our household, a couple of things that I know that you and I both started doing more with our kids during this past year, during the pandemic, when we needed more help, was like, okay, you know what? You guys are home. Time to start learning how to do laundry.
Yeah.
Time to start learning how to cook.
Yeah, my kids got
more than peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, they get a meal a week that they have to cook in the kitchen. So that's the only reason that my son knew how to do that is because usually his meal of the week is making a boboli pizza where he like spreads sauce on it, puts cheese and puts it in the oven. But he's had so much practice with me putting it in the oven and knowing how to do it safely that like Friday was the first time he did it without me there. And I was like, oh, we've crossed a bridge.
Yes. It is. It's been amazing, like letting go of these things and letting people help. Mm-hmm. But it was more than just having our kids do it. Like you said, your husband was home.
Yeah, he was
doing more. Miguel moved in. So then all of a sudden I had somebody to help me do things around the home. It was weird. Yeah. So weird, but amazing.
It's amazing. It's amazing when we got help. And it's so interesting because going back to like now that the pandemic is, hopefully going down, the numbers are going down and we're getting hopefully back into normal. I say hopefully because I'm like, don't want to jinx it.
I know. But it's so funny hearing podcasts and stuff that was recorded in like May or June and they're like, oh, we're coming out of it. And I'm like, oh God, if you only knew, people. If you only knew.
Don't want to jinx it. But like my husband's work is starting to require him now in the office full time. And he has been more cognizant of actually coming home and like he does a dinner now once a week. Like there's one day a week he does a dinner. So now my daughter does a dinner, my son does a dinner, I do a dinner, he does a dinner, and we get takeout. So it's like our 5 days a week are covered and it's not me doing everything.
And that is what is key right there. That has been a huge, huge win and a huge revelation, I think, during this pandemic.
And you know what? I've become less resentful too because it's no longer all on me. I am a participatory member of the family now instead of doing it all by myself. And that makes me so much happier.
Yes.
And it's hard to get to that point though. It's a definite process.
Yeah, it's been a tough one. Yeah. All right. And number 5 is mine.
Yes.
This was funny, actually. Okay, so I found that over the course of the year, I don't have to kill myself running to the grocery store every weekend.
Yeah, and I was like, what do you mean? You're running the grocery store, like?
Yes, like, okay, so I have an aversion to like doing things online. I don't know why.
Not even like Amazon?
Okay, Amazon, I'll admit. Amazon, yeah, I love Amazon.
Yeah.
But I never understood like the whole ordering groceries thing or doing DoorDash or any of that stuff. None of that. So like, and I was just telling you before we started this episode, you're like, oh, that's an odd thing to put down. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even start ordering my groceries until the like new variant of the virus came out. So like we're talking about like, I didn't even start ordering my groceries until what, November, December was when I finally first started doing that. So I would still go to the grocery store. I mean, we didn't go often and I did all the safety procedures that were needed, but it just seemed scary to do it online. And like finally once I did, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I just get to pass around the phone to everybody in the family. And I'm like, here, type in what you want to get. And then like, amazing. With everybody also doing their cooking, I'm like, have your grocery list ready by, Saturday morning. Cause we're going to order a grocery Saturday morning to pick them up Saturday night or Sunday. And it has been so much less stress than trying to get out to the store, making sure that we were all being, not all of us, but that I was being safe and I would get in there, get in and get out as quickly as possible, try to get what everybody wanted, try not to forget anything because I'm famous for getting things. Don't tell me to put it on lists, people. I'm still going to forget it. I don't understand how, but I still managed to. And then I come back with like 20 things I didn't need. That's the other. I have that shopping issue too.
I'm a very stick to the list.
Oh God, person. No. Like there were times actually where my daughter would be like, I have to come with you. And I'm like, why? She's like, because you're going to go off the list. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am. But anyway, I digress. And then coming home and then having to get somebody to help me unload all the groceries. It was a lot of stress.
It's a lot of stuff.
Now it's like, it's so much easier. It's so, why did I fight these people? Why?
So do you do the one where you order and then you pick it up at the grocery store? Like you do it. So
we do fries.
So you know what? We found something very interesting because we were doing Instacart delivery.
Okay.
And we're like, okay, like how does Instacart make their money? Because they only charge you like maybe a $5 or $10 delivery fee. And then you get to tip the driver. And I'm like, this isn't enough to make money. Here's how they do it. All those like loyalty card savings. So they have their own loyalty cards. So they get those savings, but then they charge you full price.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So it's a really great business model, but I was like, what? We're paying like, it's not really $10 delivery fee and then the tip. It's like $50 more to do Instacart.
Oh.
But like the pickup from the actual grocery store is actually like they give you loyalty card stuff. So.
Yes. So again, we do fries because that's what's close to our house. And there's one that's not far away. And it's just, they have a great system. Like you pull in, they've got more than enough parking at this one. Because again, there's a ton of them and they don't all have a great system. And it's always been awesome. Just so easy. So yeah. This was a game changer, people. I know Brie is late to the game on this one, but man,
if you're fighting it, listen to Brie's story about this one.
Why do I fight change so hard sometimes, Joanne?
It's change. Like we all fight change hard. I think it's just one of our like human instincts to fight the change.
Yes.
Because it's like, I mean, I do it too, and I get really anxious too when I know something's going to change. Like, for instance, like we take our dog to this great dog boarding place. It's like out of someone's home who's a dog trainer who's really great with her, and she's a high maintenance dog. So there's not many people I trust leaving her with. Like, she's the type of dog, like if she was with the wrong person, she would destroy their whole house or she would eat their dogs. And so I'm like... But they text me and they're like, yeah, we're going to discontinue the boarding. And I was freaking out, Brie. I was freaking out like all week. And then I find last night when I picked her up, because we took like a little trip down to Tucson, that they're just making it now a canine boarding school where like the dogs get training when they're boarding. And I'm like, she needs some training. Sign her up. Like, so, but it was a change.
Right. And change is scary.
It's just scary. Change is scary. But hopefully you found some things in this.
Yeah. So tell us, what did we have on our list that you learned over the last year? So what things on there were you like, yep, totally. And what are things that we totally missed that you feel like you got out of the last year?
Yeah. Email us. hello@noguiltmom.com. We really want to hear from you, because you know what? It really helps us create podcast episodes that you will enjoy when we hear from you.
Yes. We love hearing from our peeps.
We do. So if you have a second, can you just rate and review us on iTunes? If you haven't already, we'd be so appreciative. Hopefully we've earned those 5 stars, and your little 2-sentence, I'm like 10-sentence review. No, you don't have to do a 10-sentence review. It's a 2-sentence. Maybe 1 sentence is fine too.
But 10 stars would be good. It's not an option, but we'll take them.
But it means so much, and it helps other people find the podcast who need it and who need that connection and need that uplift and need to be told that they do not have to be doing everything as a parent, and how to delegate and let some stuff go. So until next time, the best mom's a happy mom. Take care of you, and we'll see you later.
Thanks for stopping by. Are you looking for something to listen to with your whole family? Then check out 6 Minutes, produced and created by Gen Z Media. With over 200 twisty, cliffhanger-filled episodes, 6 Minutes tells the story of 11-year-old Holiday, who is pulled from the icy waters with no memory of who she is or where she came from.
3 years ago, Brinley Pasternak helped the Anders family uncover the truth about Holiday's past. Now she'll need them to help her find the truth about hers. In 6 Minutes Out of Time, the long-awaited sequel, Cyrus Anders is found unconscious near the mysterious Elixir Academy in Florida, and Brinley learns the school may have a shocking connection to her missing mother.
Dive in now and get the most downloaded family audio adventure in history. Follow 6 Minutes wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen early and ad-free with the GZM family subscription.